first moved to Birmingham a couple years ago and was kind of not sure about what I wanted to do. We thought, why not bring something here? I mean, there's so many stylish and inspiring women. Why not create a brand that represents those women?
We were honored to be listed as one of Southern Living's 2020 tastemakers. And that was just jaw-dropping group of women that we got to be included with. And, each one of those, we have, different relationship with each woman. And it's turned out to be such an incredible network.
Anyone can make a difference in your business or your life, and vice versa. You can do the same.
Hello, my name is Angie Cooper, and I am Executive Director of Heartland Summit and Chief Programs Officer for Heartland Forward. Welcome to our very first Meet in the Middle virtually discussion. I'm so excited today to launch the first Meet in the Middle series with two fabulous entrepreneurs, Margaret Boyce and Jamey Gresham. They come to us from Birmingham, Alabama, and Memphis, Tennessee, and they are founders of Lowery, which is a very cool handbag company that we'll hear a little bit more about. Jamey and Margaret, thank you so much for joining us today and for taking the time to visit and share your story. It's good to see you.
Thanks so much for having us. We're so excited.
We're excited to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're just going to jump right in and get started. Tell us, as we start the conversation, tell us a little bit about your company and what inspired you to start a business on your own.
So to give everyone listening more information about us, we are a contemporary handbag line based in the South. Jamey and I are the designers, and everything is manufactured in the U.S. I first moved to Birmingham a couple years ago and was kind of not sure about what I wanted to do. When you have a fresh start, you're like, okay, do I want to stay in the same industry that I was in when I moved here, or do I want to try something completely new? And my very encouraging and supportive friend Jamey was like, why don't you do something on your own? And so, I was like, I will if you come with me. So we started, looking at handbags one day, and we're like, okay, there are not many timeless pieces that have, that distinct edge at an attainable price point. And on top of that, there are very few in our region. We always looked to like New York and LA and those cities, and we thought, why not bring something here? I mean, there's so many stylish and inspiring women. Why not create a brand that represents those women? So Jamey and I just kind of started sketching, had one family meeting, and then took our sketches to New York to meet with suppliers, manufacturers, and it just kind of started from there.
I love that. And Jamey, how fun was it to get the call of saying like, okay, we can do this? And tell me a little bit more about the family meeting.
Well, to make it very Southern on this call, so I'm actually married to Margaret's cousin. My husband Scott and my husband Scott's mother and Margaret's mother are sisters. So before we were best friends, then I truly became family. So our family meetings are actually family. I loved getting that call. I think I've, from a really young age, always wanted to do something on my own, and just never really had the exact direction of like what I wanted to do and what I really wanted to sink my teeth into. And Margaret, was a blessing in disguise. Now I see, and there's no way I can ever imagine doing anything else than what we do every day. But at that point, I had another job, and I think it took me all of 2 weeks to literally put my notice in, and then we were on a flight the next day. So, but we went to New York, and Margaret will never say this about herself, but she's a fabulous artist.
That is not true.
She could sketch really well. Skills, but she could sketch really well. So, she came with just an amazing, notebook of ideas, and we just built on those, and we truly went to New York with a like Office Depot folder filled with sketches, and we just went around to different vendors and manufacturers and met with people, and we're just as green as could be. But we learned so much on that trip, and every time we go back, which we haven't been in a while, I don't know when we'll get to go back, but every time we go back, we learn more and more, and we're more appreciative for what we get to do. So, and doing it with your best friend is just even better. So.
Well, it's so exciting. And I know, I mean, you guys are recently launched, right? The beginning of last year, and then how crazy that COVID has hit. To your point, going and talking and traveling and visiting, it's a different time. And not only are you starting a new business, but we're all sort of thinking about how do you recreate and change the way we do things. So that kind of leads to the next question that I have is you guys started selling online, right? And you're kind of now venturing into putting your handbags in some smaller boutiques, I think in the Heartland. So that's exciting, and maybe in other parts of the country. But what made your decision, or why did you make the decision to start investing in kind of blending the online and brick and mortar space?
Yeah. Well, obviously, in this day and age, especially after a pandemic, everyone's realized how important, especially small businesses, realize how important it is to have a shoppable website to reach your customers 24/7 in events like, the pandemic where people can't come and shop. So, of course, we started out with a website, and I think we really wanted to focus on getting in front of customers directly. So with the website, we also did several pop-ups, and part of that is I think we wanted to build demand and credibility for our product before we could approach retailers and be like, hey, this is what our customers are saying. This is why we think it would be perfect for your store. And again, just having an online store, it proves widespread growth. You can reach so many different people and like all over the country. But now when we get into brick and mortar and we're more focused on our region, it's a little more targeted. So if we want to go to Atlanta, what is the best way to do that? And that is finding, a retailer that we like to shop at and tap into, their customer base that they've already built over the span of however long they've been in business.
Yeah. I think something that Margaret and I've grown to understand is incredibly important in selling a product is that relationship. And people really want to understand the product that they're buying, and especially when we all have our places that we go and it's a no-brainer we buy stuff, but what Margaret and I are trying to sell is something that really has a brand behind it. And we know now that people want to trust what they're investing in, and we are an investment piece. So I think that's where retail really comes into these are people who have shopped with these stores and have built relationships with them, and they trust what they say is, hey, you really need to know about this brand. These girls are doing this thing. And it's been so cool to partner with these people. We've been pretty strategic about growing that list because we really want to make sure that the people that are investing in us and selling our product, that they really like it, and that they really enjoy it, and they really want to sell it to their customers, and that they know about us and want to sell us as well, sell the J. Lowery brand and kind of build that community. So it's really funny. My mom was actually at Blackberry Farm over Thanksgiving, which is one of our amazing vendors. And the guy there didn't know that she was my mom, and she was just kind of shopping in the store. And she said he just was amazing the way that he was talking about J. Lowery and, telling the story. And that's just a perfect example of, that those are the people that you want being your brand ambassadors. And those are the people that you want talking about you. And that's why retail will always be, just so incredibly valuable to us.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we hear that all the time at Heartland Forward with the different groups that we work with is one, relationships are so, so very important. And that's how you continue specifically in this part of the country to build upon brands. And when you think about it, you guys are amazing entrepreneurs starting a new brand, J. Lowery. but you're also helping other entrepreneurs who have been in the retail business. And so the growth, that's how communities grow. And that's how we continue to build upon entrepreneurship and share ideas. So I love that. And I know I can't wait. Hopefully we'll get some handbags in Northwest Arkansas sometime soon. So I can walk to my small boutique store that I shop in all the time. But so tell us though, we've talked about relationships, we've talked about like the importance of building networks and communities. You guys talk about communities a lot and the fact that you're doing it in the middle of the country, which I think is inspiring to others. And maybe sometimes surprising for some of the people on the coast, seeing great things happening here in the heartland. So tell us how you define community, and maybe what's advice that you would give an entrepreneur starting out on how best to build their network or their community?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, community is really all about support, and it all comes full circle. So if we are in a retail store, in Birmingham, and someone buys from that store, they're supporting that retailer who's supporting us. We're supporting our leather suppliers, our hardware suppliers, and we're also supporting our manufacturers. So everything comes full circle. But I think this year has taught us, who we are in our community and who we want to be in that and who our community is. And I think recently we've definitely been focused on how can we make an impact in the small business community, being small businesses, or being a small business. And part of that has inspired us with several promotions this year. Is just for Black Friday, instead of doing our typical discount, we wanted to give back in a way. So we did, with the purchase of a handbag, everyone gets a $25 gift certificate to a small business of their choice, whether it's local or online. Just because, especially in this year, we've all realized how small businesses are what makes our community special. I have a restaurant right down the street that we go to all the time, and it would be a devastating loss to our community and our neighborhood, or I don't know, just all these other small businesses. It just makes you realize where you fit in and what can you do to help others. And at the end of the day, everyone in your community wants to help you, and it all just comes back around.
Yeah. And I think, another thing, building on the word community and what it really can mean so many different things to a small business. But I think another thing that Margaret and I have learned, especially in this year, is that building out that network of people, no matter, how small or large of a connection it may be, is invaluable to an entrepreneur. Like you need those every day. I don't think there's a single day that we're not calling on someone or someone's calling on us. So I would say, in giving advice, always take a chance on people, always do what you can to help people, because it will always come back. And it's not about, always having someone to help you, but not only is it rewarding, but it also, it helps build your small business in return when you're helping other small businesses. And I think that's something we've learned, and we've seen work just tremendously in 2020, is all of those connections that we've had. People have really just come together, and especially we were honored to be listed as one of Southern Living's 2020 tastemakers. And that was just, this like jaw-dropping group of women that we got to be included with. And, each one of those, we have, a different relationship with each woman. And it's turned out to be such an incredible network that we have been, and that all just came from literally basic networking, like ground level. So it just, if it's a 30-minute coffee, or if it's someone who's going to be a long-term mentor, it doesn't matter how small or large the connection may be. You just always need to take the leap and, go and meet with a person and introduce yourself and build your network.
Yeah, and you can never have too big of a network, we've always heard. So that's, just keep that in mind. When anyone can make a difference in your business or your life, and vice versa, you can do the same. So
that's great advice. And you guys should be so proud of what you've accomplished, starting a business a year later, going through a health pandemic, and just continuing to build that network and the success that you've had so far. So it's really exciting to watch and see. And I love what you said about know who you are and what you want to be. I think that's really solid advice as anything you're doing in life, to just remember kind of those core values and where you want to head in the future. So I hate to say this, I could talk and chat with both of you all day long, and you do have great advice. And I know there's so many success stories that you could probably share that we'll have to touch back on maybe in the coming months. But the last few questions I'm going to ask you, we're going to do a little bit sort of rapid fire. So maybe 1 to 2 word answers. And the first one that I'm going to ask you is, what's the most fulfilling thing about being an entrepreneur?
I would definitely say freedom, to take risks, to do, pivot when we need to, I think freedom for sure.
Yeah, exact same answer. It's the freedom to try things. I mean, when something's not working, we can change, like that and readjust, and we don't really have to run it up the flagpole. It's just us two. So just the freedom to kind of try things and do what works for you.
Okay, the last question, and I think this one's kind of hard, but how did you know, or will you know, that you made it?
Obviously success looks different to everyone, but I think if we're continuing to create product that people love and enjoy while inspiring other people, and also providing for our families in the process, I think that's what's going to make me feel like I've made it for sure.
I mean, success is such a relative thing. It can look different to anyone that you ask. But I think for us, for a small business, I mean, as long as we're doing something and putting something out there that people appreciate and people respond to, Margaret and I are in it for the long haul. So as long as people want to see what we're doing, then we feel like we've made it, I guess. I don't know if one thing will ever happen that we're like, okay, we can sit back now, because you always can do more and you always can push harder. So but I think just as long as we're putting out good things and people are loving it, then we know we've done what we need to do.
Again, such great advice, Margaret and Jamey. It's been fun to be able to chat with you and learn about what you're doing at J. Lowery and the products that you're bringing to the Heartland and across the country. So thank you for your time. We definitely look forward to being in touch, and keep Heartland Forward in mind as you continue to grow your business, and as we all help support our communities and entrepreneurs going forward. So thank you so much. Have a great day.